What's everyone, it's Matt Mrozik, and this will be my review and overview of the Logan X-23 on motorcycle custom unpainted kit version. So I got this in today, and it's pretty impressive. It was packed very well, as you know most customs are. I'm going to put a review down below to Ultimate Collectibles' review of the painted piece. It's a really good review. He goes through all his impressions based on concepts, sculpt, paint, done really well. So he just started a channel, uploaded a bunch of videos, and like after I watched the first review, I watched them all. And I was really happy he reviewed the Vision 2.0 Captain America, which I was the painter of the prototype, which I was really proud of that piece, and he gave it a really good review, so that makes me really proud. So anyway, back to this piece. So this is pretty cool, and I was on the fence on this for a while. I know initially when this was kind of announced or unveiled, you know, these things are typically a year in the works. So this was kind of shown initially about a year ago, I would assume. And I was like, oh man, that's really cool. You know, I just watched the movie, and that's a really neat piece. It really kind of shows the movie really well. And I think initially when they first printed it, it was like too small. I think they advertised it at quarter scale, and it came out more like 1/6, 1/5 scale, and there's a big uprising, so they reprinted it and started over. And if you're not a painter or a builder, you're gonna look at this like, oh my God, that's a nightmare. But as a painter builder, this is what I like to see. As many pieces as possible. Break it down, you know, don't glue anything. It makes a painter's life so much easier the more pieces there are, simply because it involves less masking, less trying to get paint into areas that you can't get paint to. So I may not be able to put it all together. It did come to already came sort of pre-assembled, and I took it apart. So like the main part of the motorcycle was kind of dry fitted together and wrapped in bubble wrap. Logan was kind of put together and wrapped in bubble wrap. Same with X-23. So I may not be able to put it all together, like all these little bits and pieces, engine parts. I may not be able to put it all in, but I'll do my best. So again, you'll get to watch me fiddle on camera a lot and probably cuss and hopefully not break anything. I did have one little area breakage, which wasn't too bad. It's right here on the, I guess it's the rear fender. This little kind of broke off, and they did have a piece of foam. Actually, it was wrapped really well. There was a big piece of foam in there. It was wrapped in bubble wrap, and I think it just got a little tweaked. You know, got a little kind of too much pressure put on it. You know, in packing and shipping and stuff. So here we go. We have lots of pieces. So I'm trying to think the best way to do this. I am going to go over the issue that people are having with the fit of Logan and X-23. I checked out mine right away, and mine does have that fitting issue. I know that they posted some videos on how to fix that with a hair dryer and a hammer. I have a better solution than a hair dryer and a hammer, and I'll go over that here within this review. I'm not going to show you it, but I as soon as I put it together, I knew what the problem was, and I knew how I would fix it, and without having to beat the crap out of it. So I'm just going to pick this up and kind of go over some of the pieces. So I'm going to do some hand holding here. So here we have parts of the engine, and like some of this was already dry fitted. Like the engine blocks were dry fitted to this piece. And then we've got like the bottom here, some of the exhaust. There's that one piece that broke in shipping, no big deal. A bunch of little pieces here, some clear resin for the lamps and stuff. And I might try to light this. I think it'll be really easy because you can run the wires along the motorcycle somewhere, and it would look like motorcycle, you know, part of the bike. I think it'd be relatively easy to light. There are the 3 portraits for X-23. We'll look at those. And then here is the forks of the bike. Those kind of came dry fitted. What's interesting is that they sent me the front headlight with the back part painted silver already, which is weird. So I don't know why. And then we have Logan's jacket, his torso, his legs, his portrait. My buddy Floyd got the kit in, and he was saying that the likenesses could be a little bit better, but I'm looking at this, and I think that's pretty spot on to the movie, man. It looks, even without paint, I think it's pretty spot on. If I had one crit about the likeness is maybe the nose. And, you know, I'm not super critical like a lot of guys are, but I'm looking at it as like, I can tell it's Logan. I can tell it's Hugh Jackman. Maybe the nose is like a hair long or something, but I know right away who it is. I don't have to like, oh, is that really him? Some more of the bike parts here. got the two wheels, and they molded some of the spokes separately so you can paint the inner hubs separately. Again, that's a huge thing. Got the metal claws, which I'll go over. They're metal, but mine are rusted. So yeah, I'll just grind those down and repaint them. And then we have X-23's body over here with her legs and the main part of the bike. So all the big parts of the bike were kind of dry fitted on this and wrapped in bubble wrap. And then we have Logan's backpack. So for the most part, I'm really happy with how they broke this kit down. There are a few areas where I can tell they glued some pieces on, little pieces, like, oh man, why don't you just leave that separate? You know, as a painter, like I said, the more pieces the better, the less masking, the easier it is to paint details and stuff. So, oh, and then down on the floor I have the base, which is pretty simple, just down there. So what I think we're gonna do, I think we're gonna pause. I'm gonna get the base up on the desk, and I'll try to build the bike. So give me a second to kind of clear this off and get the base up there. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show is how these wheels go together. I do kind of bit by bit, and you know how I like to break things on camera. Well, I already broke this wheel. I picked it up and by one of the spokes and it broke, so I'm afraid if I try to get this piece out I may break more, but we'll see. It's a tight fit because of all the primer on it. So let's see here. You may hear some severe cussing here in a second if I break all these spokes off. It's a tight fit, now it doesn't want to come out. So I'm not going to do it on camera. Basically, this center hub keys in to the middle here on the back side like that, okay? So it's in there pretty good. I'm not going to try to force it out because like I said, I went to go pick this wheel up and I picked it up by the spoke and it broke off. But it's a clean break and it'll be an easy fix. So, you know me, I like to break shit. I like to make more work for myself. So I'm not going to worry about that. What I may do to get this off is actually pour a little paint thinner on there to loosen the primer because it's just too thick. It's a tight fit. But what is clever is they have the other spokes on the back side are actually like of a vinyl material, which makes it easier to assemble. And they're numbered. So like this one will go in here. And again, I'll have to do some trimming. So you guys got to get pre-paints. The factories, they do all this stuff to all your pre-painted pieces. As painters, we have to do it. And these will plug in there, but they're nice and flexible so that they'll fit in there easier, I guess. Let's see, maybe it's supposed to go under. Oh, I think maybe they're supposed to go underneath. Maybe let's see. Maybe it's, oh, there we go. I think maybe that's what it's supposed to do. Okay, so there's that one. Yeah, it goes underneath the, and then we've got some other ones. Yeah, these are labeled, so I just got to look for the right J7. That's going to go underneath and key in here. So I'll do this one wheel and do the other one off camera. And hopefully I won't break any spokes on that one. I just wanted to go pick it up and wasn't even thinking not to pick it up by the spoke, but oh, I thought that goes there. 7J. Maybe not miss. Maybe that's an I. I thought that was an I. What is this? Let's see. Nope, I think that's it. Again, these have a lot of primer on from the factory. Probably too much. Pretty sure that goes there. Just not wanting to go in, so I'll have to do some trimming there. And then I think this is the last one here. So there's a rough, loose fit of the spokes. So again, I'll have to do some trimming, but that's the idea. Yeah, there we go. I don't want to push too much on that hub because I'll break all the spokes. I'm going to do this off camera for a second so I can see what I'm doing. I'll break all the spokes on the back side. There we go. Okay, so we got that in, okay, like that. And then that's going to plug into the base back here. That's the back wheel, I believe. Or is, yeah, it is. It goes in this way. Okay, So that plugs in back there. So I'm going to do the other wheel off camera and we'll come back and do the next section. I forgot to add the hubs. So those, these guys right here simply fit in here like this. That's a really good fit. And the other one on the back side. Just like that. So that's what the wheel looks like. So now with all those parts separate, with the exception of the resin spokes, you're able to paint all these individually. And there you go, dropping stuff again. So I'll do the other wheel and come back. Okay, so the front wheel goes together pretty much exactly the same. The weird thing about the front wheel is that they have these two pieces of spoke that go in here, but they're not keyed at all. So like they won't stay in right now. So I'm just gonna put those to the side. And there's another key right here labeled D1 for something. So I need to figure out what goes in there and then we'll come back. Okay, so I'm not sure what goes in D1, but what I'm gonna do right now is show you how the forks go together. Now these kind of came pre-built in the box, but I took them apart just to show you how they go together. And it's relatively simple. And it looks like they actually, so this is kind of interesting. It looks like this has been painted. So I would not be surprised if this was a painted statue that they painted over. For whatever reason, a lot of these guys, what they do is for the kits, they take a pre-painted piece and they just prime over it. So this has been painted. You can see where the primer's coming off there. And you can see on the top there, there's silver paint. So my guess is if I hit this with some paint thinner, that this would be a painted piece. That's not that big of a deal, but what makes it a big deal is that it adds additional layers of paint. And that's, my guess is that's why I'm having a hard time getting the wheels to fit, because if they're painted and then primed, it's just additional layers of paint is making it hard to get together. So I don't know why the factories do that. To me, the only reason I can think of, it's like because they're like in a production line process and they're just kind of like they paint everything and then they, I don't know, like all the pieces get painted and then they make kits. So these kind of key together like this, and then these go in here like this, and it all keys together really well actually. Just like that, and that stays pretty solid. And then this part goes on top like this, and there's two magnets here, and that's where the handlebars will magnetize into. And then there is a metal axle for this that came in the kit. I'm not sure where that D1 peg is for yet, so I'm not going to put the axle in yet and put the forks on. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the actual kind of big part of the body together and show you how that works. I'm going to put this front wheel to the side actually. So it's going to be kind of a long video. Hope you guys don't mind. So I'm going to put the forks to the side too. Now, like I said, when this came in, the main part of the motorcycle was kind of all dry fitted together and had bubble wrap around it, keeping it together. So there's one part, so in here, I can tell, like, let me get some better light. In particular, if you look close, like this was actually probably, where is it? Like right here, there's this piece, I can see there's actually glue around there. So this piece was an individual piece and they glued it in. You can see a little glue spot there where this was an individual piece that glued it in. It's not the end of the world, but personally, keep it separate for the kit builders. So I'm not sure if producers can tell factories, hey, look, for the kits, don't paint them. Actually leave them separate. Don't paint them and prime over them, because it makes it really hard for the kit builders. So hopefully the producer will take this and maybe take that advice, because a lot of times what they do, they'll paint everything and then they'll prime over the painted pieces. I haven't gone into the sculpting details. The wheels are pretty simple, as you saw. This is actually really pretty impressive. I'm not a motorcycle guy, so I don't know what the name of all these pieces are, but it's really highly detailed. And when this was together, it looked really, really impressive. So let's see if I can remember how it goes back together. If I remember correctly, I have to put these guys together first. So these three pieces were kind of all together right here. And they do have some wires on there, and they're actually real wires, and they just primed over them. Again, I'm guessing these I'm not sure if this was a painted piece and primed over. This looks like this may have primer on it. So maybe what they do is they paint a bunch of pieces and then just pull some of those for the kits. I'm really not sure their reasoning behind all that. So this goes in, let's see if I can remember this correctly. Yeah, so this goes in like this. And these are labeled L6. Where's L6 or 76? 78. Okay, so this comes in like that. It fits in very, very well. This comes in like this. And again, fits very, very well. So the engine detail is really, really nice. Yeah, done extremely well. And then put that to the side for a second. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get this to stand up by itself, to be honest, but I'm going to try. And then I gotta remember how this came apart. Oh, so like this piece right here is obviously a different color primer. Okay, it comes off. I thought maybe it was glued on. It's not glued on. That comes off. Okay, let me think here for a second. Let's see. That's the seat. You get to watch me fumble on camera again as usual. Okay, here we go. This is how this goes. This part keys into there, and you actually see where the factory went in and ground off some of the key to get it to fit better. That'll fit right in here. Just like that. Okay. I should have done this first. This piece comes in here. Hopefully you can kind of see what I'm doing. There's actually a key in the front. There's a key in the front right here where this key's into. So that goes like that. And then the heat shield comes in right there. Feels like that's got a magnet. No, it doesn't. It just fits really well. So it fits there. And then let's see. I don't want to drop anything. I'm known to drop things every once in a while. Let's see what else came off of this. Oh, this piece of exhaust was removable and it keyed in right here. The other side is not removable. It seems like I tried to take it off. If it does come off, it's hard to take off. I'm actually take the engine block off so I don't. Let me take this part off real quick. If it does come off, what happens is it's wedged underneath a lip right here, and I think it keys into there. So I think it comes off, but I'm not going to force it right now. So this comes in. There we go. Snaps in like that. This part here, this comes in. I thought. Hold please. How's that go? Oh, that's right. This comes in like this, keys in like that, which also, so in this case, the engine block would go on next because there's a key in the front there. So this actually all interlocks pretty well. It goes like that. Sorry, I'm in front of camera a lot. Eventually I'm going to have a really good setup for doing videos. I'm not sure when that is, but I just don't have a good setup. Watch Ultimate Collector. He has a good setup. Or he's not in front of the camera all the time like I am. Oop. I got that piece in upside down. This comes in like this. And then it comes in and locks in underneath here. Like that. Okay. So now we're starting to look like a motorcycle, somewhat. Okay. And then the next piece that was on here was the fuel tank. there was a wire. There's a wire right here that was fed into here. Like these wires just kind of stick underneath here. I'm not sure they actually go anywhere specific. There is actually I think it pegs in somewhere. Oh, up here. Pegs in up here. Like that. This one, I think, was just kind of stuck in there like this to give you the sense of it being wired, and then it just kind of tucked back into the engine. Not really plugging into anything, but there may be a plug. I can look later. So like that. And then the fuel tank goes in like that. Let's see. The seat. Like that. Yeah, I'm not sure if this will stay together. I don't know. Let's see. Because this sits on top of the back wheel. Like this. I think if I get the axle on the wheel, maybe I'll get this together. We'll see. What I don't want is this like whole thing falling over on me. That would suck. Okay. Let me get the forks on real quick. Where did I put them? Right here. I'm going to pause and come back. Okay, well, after fiddling it for... Damn it. Am I still recording? I am. I hit the wrong button. After fiddling with this for a few minutes, I've decided that I can't get it to stay together without gluing things, but you kind of get a sense of how that looks. And then, obviously, the rear fender will go over the back tire, or the front tire, sorry. Somehow, not sure exactly how that's going to fit on there. Again, a lot of times when I build kits, I look at the pre-paints for guidance and how, as far as how things go. So that'll fit on the front there somehow. The handlebars, again, are just magnets, just like that. That's a strong magnet. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to get it together. I'm just gonna try to loosely fit it. We got some, these are actually on backwards. There we go. Got some, what do I say, gauges. Couldn't think of the word. But where they go is full of resin sludge, so I won't be able to put those in right now. Those have to be cleaned out. And then we got a bunch of other little pieces here. The handlebars, not the handlebars, the grips. This could fall apart at any second. Fair warning. That's not how they, oh, I had it on it. That's backwards. What the heck? Maybe I have the, no, the forks have to go on that way. Okay, that's right. Okay. I'm just, again, I'm not a motorcycle guy, so I'm not sure exactly. Like, I have the axle in here, but without gluing stuff together, it's not going to want to stay. So, there it goes. Anyway, I think you get the idea of how the motorcycle goes together. There you go. That's it. So let's look at some of the sculpting on X-23 and Logan, and I'll tell you how I'm going to fix the fitting issue on mine. I can't do anything with that. I'm going to pause, get this out of the way so it doesn't fall over and come back. Okay, so let's look at X-23 first. Keep pushing your button on me. Things irritating me. Okay, so let's look at X-23 first. Like I said, I'm going to put a link down to Ultimate Collectibles review on this, but I think the sculpt of this is really good. I think the lightness is pretty much spot on to, I don't know the actress's name, but I think it's pretty spot on to her. We get 3 portraits. You kind of get this angry portrait. Looks pretty good. We get one that's even a little angrier. So we got kind of angry, a little angrier. There's a hole right there. Oh, because she's got sunglasses, which I have not found actually. I think she's got sunglasses somewhere, but I haven't seen them. So I want to make sure I have those. I could do a parts check. I'm pretty sure she's supposed to have sunglasses. Yeah, I think she has sunglasses with this one. That's why there's a hole there to peg that in. And then we have just her normal kind of calm face. Looks good. And then what I really like is the backpack's actually really cool. Nice texture. Actually molded her little comic book separately. You know, that's how she learned about all the X-Men, by reading comics, which is pretty funny. And then we have her legs and her feet, which are magnetized. No, they're not magnetized, but they were. The feet are not magnetized. They'll get glued in anyway, but they fit really well. And same thing with this foot. And the sculpt on the pants is done really, really well. Get a nice texture of either down. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Now I'm getting a little bit of that same, if you watch my Kingdom Come Superman kit review, you're getting a little bit of that same moire pattern in the fabric here, which is a digital artifact. It's not nearly as bad in this one because the fabric texture isn't as sharp, meaning that it's not as, it's not that it's not sharp. I don't want to be negative about it, but it's not as textured, I guess would be a good way to say it. But you can kind of see a little bit of the moire pattern. You get these kind of swirl marks, and that's a digital artifact in the sculpt. And it's more on the bottom here than anything, which is fine because you don't see it. You can really see it on the calf here. I'm not sure if it shows up in camera. See there? Kind of see that swirl pattern right here? It's called moire, and that's a digital artifact. I'm not seeing it too bad on the front. I see a little bit right here. Again, depending on how you paint it, will either accentuate that or hide it. Jacket looks really good, nice and flowing, nice wrinkles, good sculpt there. I like the fact that they molded for the kit again, I'm not sure these are painted, but the straps of the backpack are separate and they're of a vinyl material, so they're easily removable, and it came right off. Let's see, so I think this one goes, yeah, that one goes there, and it came across the back. This one. Back, and then with the backpack on, which will get glued on eventually, one piece that goes like that, and then the straps will they tie in right here on the sides, like one right there, there, and right there. I'm going to take that off so it doesn't fall off. And then the hands are pretty simple, but they look good. We got her kind of her relaxed hand. I do have a couple bubbles in the fingertips I got to take care of. Not a big deal. And then we got our clenched fist where the claws go in. And like I said, I have the claws here, the metal claws, but mine are rusted. They have surface rust on them. So I'm not sure. I think they're pre-painted. I'm not sure they're painted or what, but you can see here that they're chrome, but they have surface rust, so they'll have to be stripped and either re-chromed or repainted. But not, you know, no, real metal claws are always a plus in my book. I don't think they should be shiny anyway, so I'll probably just paint them with a duller paint. Those are there. Okay, let's talk about the fit. Oh, I'm sorry. My mic was on the floor, so hopefully you heard all that. It fell off. Another amazing high production video from yours truly. So the fit. So I did, go through mine. And the producer contacted me about the fitting of this kit because I had made a comment to them. They had a video showing the factory heating up the jackets and using a hammer and a screwdriver to get things to fit. You don't need to do that. So the pre-paints have already been taken care of. If you have a pre-paint, it all fits. So it's been done for you at the factory. So what the problem is that the torso doesn't go all the way up into the jacket. So that's why they're taking a heat gun to it and a hammer. They're trying to get that torso way, way up in there. Because if you take without the jacket, it fits perfectly. There's no gap or nothing. It fit perfectly. So we know it's not the fit of the head to the torso. And these have really nice strong magnets, by the way. That's perfect. All three of them. So where's the issue? Well, the issue is in the fit of the torso to the jacket. And They actually kind of have it molded. Actually, I had the custom quarter scale penguin kit, and they'd done a lot of pre-assembly. Unfortunately, the jacket had already been assembled to the body. It was probably a painted one that they primed over, and you could tell that it was done the same way. They kind of shaped the inside of the jacket and the torso to fit together. So you put it in there. Well, that's as far as it wants to go. That's all it wants to go. But this neckline has to be all the way up there, okay? Otherwise, your head's not going to fit. You're going to have a huge gap. So that's why they were trying to heat this jacket up on the video and hammer this in there. Well, of course you don't want to do that to a painted piece. Could you do that before painting on this? You could, and the masking wouldn't be that terrible, to be honest. You could get it to fit, paint the shirt, mask it off, and then paint the jacket. My solution is going to be real easy. I'm going to take a grinder. I'm just going to grind this off back here because you're not going to see it. I'm just going to basically grind this down because that's where it's hitting. You're getting interference between the side of the torso and the jacket. So as long as you don't see that, you should be able to get it up in there, I think. Now when I do push this up there, you can see that the jacket wants to kind of split apart. And actually I just had a little chip out right there. I went to go push it in there and it chipped out. But they actually have this groove right here. It's supposed to fit in this slot. So that tells you where it's supposed to go. It's supposed to go all the way up. And this one's actually not as bad as Logan because the material's not as thick. So if I can push that up all the way, still not quite there. Got to go up higher. So even though I'm pushing it up as high as I can go, it's probably still not quite enough. So I've got that pushed up as high as I can go with my hand. Okay, so now it's wanting to go in a little bit better. Okay, so we need to get the shirt up higher into the jacket. Otherwise, you have to go through and do grinding here and the collar and all that stuff. I don't think you get to do that. I think the problem is that the shirts on both pieces are not going up into the jacket high enough. So that's why they were heating it up and banging it and all that sorts of stuff. Now I may do a little bit of that. I don't know. Let's see. Actually, where that chipped out is no big deal because you don't see it. Oh, but what chipped out there? I did get a little chip out right here from something. Trying to get to fit. Ooh. Boom, look at that. There's a big bubble underneath the surface that I did not, you can't see it, and that chipped out. So there's a big bubble under the surface. Actually, you can see it. That bubble goes from up here all the way down here. And I just grabbed in it and it broke. So I have to fix that now. I'll fill that in with some putty before I try to glue it back. So yeah. Maybe this does need a little hitting, because when I push it up in there, you can see that it actually fits pretty good. You can see how the side of the shirt fits really snug against the jacket, and the mold lines fit. So I'd be curious to know if the factory did, to the pre-paints, what they were doing in the video, where they took a hammer and a hammer and a screwdriver to the pre-paints. Now, if we just put the neck on here, the head on the jacket without the shirt, you can kind of see how it's supposed to fit around all that. It is kind of molded to it. So basically, the head should kind of go in like that. I haven't heard any complaints on the pre-paints, but again, the factory does all this stuff where they do all the fitting and stuff. Sorry, I'm trying to see if I can get it up in there. One of two things are going to happen. I'm going to get to fit, or my jacket's going to literally crumble in my hands here while I do this. I'm off camera. What I'm doing is I'm pushing on the head and pushing up on the shirt to see if they'll meet up. I almost got it there. It's pretty close. I think you can go up a little higher, because you can tell as soon as you take the shirt out, It fits perfectly. So let's look at Logan. Oh, and also this fits on here, obviously. It fits perfectly. That bubble kind of bums me out on the jacket there. I got to deal with that now. I need to glue that on or fill it in before I lose a little piece. So Logan's got the same problem as far as the fit goes. Let's look at Logan's sculpt a little bit. Very similar to X-23. I think the sculpt on the pants is done really well. Nice creases and wrinkles. And then we have a shirt. I believe in the movie it's a white shirt. They have a nice magnet in there, so I'm assuming in the pre-paints the top comes off from the legs. The shirt's nicely sculpted. It's simple. And we have his hands also. We have the one that goes on the handlebars. I think this detail maybe in this hand could have been a little crisper. You know, it's maybe look a little like maybe it's a little too rounded in general. Like maybe could, like his face shows age really well. Maybe the hands could have showed a little more age, in my opinion. And then we have his clenched fist, of course, with the claws come out. That's got a magnet. That one does not. And again, sorry about that. I knocked over my phone while I was recording, which sucks because now I have to download the 2 clips on my computer and merge them. I try to do everything in one take because, again, I'm lazy. I don't have time. And if I do it in 2 clips, I have to take it in my computer, put it together. If I do it in 1 clip, I can just upload it at one time without worrying about it. But again, high production value. So Logan has the same problem. I went over his face earlier. Nice sculpt. Shows age really well. So the same thing. You put the shirt in. And this is way worse than the X-23. You can see how low that the shirt line is to the jacket. This should be all the way up there. And of course, it doesn't fit. But if you take the shirt out of the jacket, it fits just fine. There's a tiny little bit of a gap, but nothing big. I mean, you know, I'll be picky, and if, you know, when and if I ever paint this, I'll fix that gap. I'll putty it. So Logan's a little trickier because the jacket's thicker. It doesn't have the same flex as the X-23 jacket does. I can't, like right now, I can't push it up in there anymore. I lied, I can. I can get there a little bit. But again, if this piece that I have happens to be a painted piece that was turned into a kit, that's going to be a harder thing to do. I can get it down there a little bit, but the shirt still needs to go up higher up in the jacket. So that's where the gap is coming from. The gap between the shirt, or between the head and the shirt, is non-existent. What's happening is that you can't get the shirt high enough up into the jacket to get it down there because the head's hitting the back of the collar. So this is the thick piece to heat up. I'd be kind of scared to do that. Again, I think on this piece, I may actually have to get a hammer to knock that out. Again, I think I'll grind the back side of the shirt and the jacket where you don't see it to get it up there high enough. Because if you don't see it, who cares? As long as it fits. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's what the factory did on the painted pieces. And I can't see them taking all their painted statues and going after it with a hammer and a screwdriver to get things to fit. But that's what I would do. I would grind the back side of the shirt, maybe a little bit inside the jacket to get it to go up all the way to fit. So that's my kind of, again, my scrappy. I said scrappy in one of my videos and someone said I was saying crappy. I was saying scrappy because my videos are scrappy. I don't see X-23 sunglasses, so I need to find those. Make sure I have them. If not, I need to contact the producer and see if I can get them. So overall thoughts of the kit, I think it's pretty good. It's a complex piece. The motorcycle is, as you can tell, it's pretty intense as far as the kit goes. Here's all the pieces I just kind of threw them to the side there. I can tell that some of my pieces have been painted and primed over, which is irritating to me because, like I said, it adds layers of paint, makes things hard to fit. So I don't know why the factories just don't set aside however many they have set for kits and don't paint them. I think that's would be really easy to do. The motorcycle, for the most part, looks like it fits together really, really well. The parts that came pre-fitted, like all this stuff and the main body, that was all wrapped in bubble wrap and actually fit really good. I had a hard time kind of figuring out how it came apart. Once I got it apart, of course, I couldn't get it back together. The big issue on this, I think, is the fit of the shirts on both figures, as they mentioned before. Do you need to take a heat gun and a hammer to it? I don't think so. X-23s would be easier to do because the jacket's thinner and it's got a little bit of flex as it is. Another solution to this would have been, I had a custom Joker kit where the jacket was made out of like a vinyl material, because it was done the same way. It had a shirt that went up in the jacket, but the jacket was fairly flexible and it just popped right into place. So that's another solution. So in the future, if they do stuff like this, make the jackets out of, I'm not sure, it feels like vinyl, like a really thick vinyl. People have a hard, like, ooh, vinyl, it's cheap. Actually, high quality vinyl is very good. It can hold detail very well, and you won't have as many fitting problems. So overall, I'd give the kit out of 10, 10 being, you know, a really awesome kit. For the complexity of it, I would, you know, because of the complexity of it, and overall, I'd say an 8. My problems is my main issues are the fact that I have some painted pieces that were primed over, and then the fitting of the jackets and stuff to the figures. And then as far as value, I think it's pretty good value. I can't remember what I paid for this thing. It was, considering how big it is, I think the price was good. Again, as a kit builder, the more pieces, the better. The few pieces that were glued on, I'd say just leave them off if you can. But yeah, it's a cool piece. When will I paint it? I have no clue. I already had one guy ask me, hey, you want to do two? Because I've got a kit too. What would I charge to paint this kit? It would be hefty. This would be a hefty price tag on this. Because of the complexity of it, because of the fitting issues and stuff. I mean, I'm not shy of saying it. I would charge $1,200 to $1,500 to build and paint this piece pretty easily, actually, to be honest. So the guys that do pre-paints, you know, you're getting a pretty good price through the factory. From what I saw, the factory pieces looked really, really good. There were, from the reviews I've seen, there are a couple areas that could have been better. But, you know, a factory can only go so far in most cases, because when you hire a painter, whether it's John Allred or Sol or Kenny Alessandro or Fici, slash Vinceville Customs, or any painter at Bradley, me, what you're paying that extra premium for is the attention to detail, the time spent on, you know, we're doing one piece, we're not doing 40 pieces. So yeah, well, is it more expensive to hire a painter, whoever it is? Of course it is. I'm not sure what other guys charge. I kind of know what John Allred charges. We talked a little bit about a Wonderfest. I'm not going to disclose that because that's his information, but I'm not shy about telling what I would charge. I would say, yeah, $1,200 to $1,500 to build and paint this piece. I mean, I try to get $10 an hour for my time. That's hard to do sometimes. Yeah. And that doesn't include the cost of my supplies. And there's a lot of supplies in this piece. So there you go. That's my awesome kind of half-assed review of this kit. I think it's cool. I do have 2 crits on the sculpt that I would have done differently on the sculpt. Actually 3. 1, I would have had the bike lean over more a little bit, just to give it more sense. It all has to do with a sense of motion. I like the motorcycle. I like their poses on the bike. Here, maybe I could actually be in front of camera, so you're not just like I'm not just chatting to pieces. That's an idea. Here, let me get in front of camera so you can look at my pretty face. You can see me. So a few things I would have done on the sculpt. Let me find a wheel. There's one there, but it's buried. Hold on. Where's the other wheel? I don't know. Oh, it's on the base. It's like a couple things that could have been done differently for the casting. Instead of sculpting the wheels like in a stationary, like this, you can obviously tell this wheel is not turning. Sculpt it in a way that it looks like it's turning. You know, sculpt the treads blurred, sculpt these in a blurred fashion so it looks like they're spinning. And then what that allows you to do is you can sculpt in on the base some skid marks because they're turning. So there would be a skid mark in the dirt. So I think that's what turned me off from like really jumping at it right away when I saw it was the figures look like they're in motion, but the bike looks like it's standing still. So I'm not sure who the sculptor is, to be honest. So sculpt the wheels that look like they're turning, lean the bike over a little bit more to really give a sense that you can tell that they're turning. And then that allows you to sculpt in a skid mark on the base. And then also you could have sculpted 1 or 2 pieces of dirt flying out from the back wheel like it's spinning. So that's my crit on the sculpt. I think everything else on the sculpt is pretty good. I think the likenesses are really good. I think Logan looks really, I can tell right away who it is. Like I said, if I was being super critical, and I'm not usually on likenesses, I think maybe the nose is off a little bit, but I don't know. And also, when you paint a figure, paint has to do a lot with the likeness. So we can look at a sculpt like, oh, it doesn't look like him, but it depends on how you paint it too. So the paint's going to make a big difference. I think the likenesses are on pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the movie in a while, but remembering back to when I saw it, I think they're pretty good. And then the fact that I had a bubble here, but you know, no one knows that. Even the guys at the factory didn't know there was a bubble there. You know, it's part of molding. You get bubbles, and it just happens to be there. So now I get to fix that. Luckily, I have the whole piece here, but I'll fill it in with something and I'll glue it back on. So I don't want that bubble to be a weak spot. Yeah, and then let's see. I think that's about it. I think it's a cool piece. It's big. It's impressive. It's, you know, it kind of makes a statement. Yeah. So again, I'd say I'd give it an 8. Is it an awesome kit? I don't know if it's an awesome kit. It's a good kit. I think the sculpt is good. I don't think the sculpt is fantastic. I think the concept is pretty good. The concept could be improved with those few changes in the sculpt, I think. But if you like the movie, I think it's a good piece to have. You know, it gives you a sense that they're trying to escape or get away. But with those few changes in the sculpt I mentioned, with the wheels turning and the skid mark in the base and maybe some dirt flying up, that would have made a huge difference. And I don't think it would have added anything to the cost. If it would, it'd be negligible. So those are my thoughts on this piece. I think it's cool. Don't ask me when I paint it. Like I said, I have no clue. I'm so backed up with projects and commissions and prototypes. It's insane. So as usual, it's Matt Mrozik. As always, thanks for watching. If you have any questions about this piece, let me know. Don't ask me who made it, because I'm not going to tell. Well, maybe I'll tell you. No, I won't tell you. Most guys know who made this piece if you're in the statue world. But it's a custom. Oh, I forgot to mention, I can show you this. It comes with a really cool art print, which I didn't know. I love this. This is amazing. Mine had a little crease in the bottom, but that's a great. I don't know who the artist on this, but I love this. And I'm not really I'm usually not into comic art but I love this piece. I mean, look at the X-23 just flying through the air, and Logan's pissed. He's dripping blood. If anyone can tell me who that artist is, I'd appreciate it. This is a really cool print. So I actually may frame this and hang this up somewhere because it's a neat piece. So it does come with a certificate of authenticity, and it tells you the number you have and all that stuff. So if you have this kit, or if you're getting it, or if you have the pre-paint, you probably have all that same stuff. But as always, Matt Mrozik, thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye.